Howdy partners, and welcome to episode 9 of Let's Play Planet Coaster Frontier Adventure here on Theme Park Worldwide. In this action-packed episode, I'm going to be completing the large interactive dark ride that I started work on in episode 8. Now with this ride I explained all about the storyline that I wanted for it, about this storm hitting the town of Tanpost, and of course it's an interactive ride, meaning that riders on here will be shooting targets throughout and also going through various different changes of direction and awesome special effects throughout the ride too. So yes, welcome to this episode. As you're seeing here, straight in there with starting work on the remaining scenes that I need to build in this dark ride, including what is going to be the signature scene for the ride, which you can see just here. And when I say signature scene, this is because of where the storm itself is actually going to take place. You're going to head straight into here. The ride vehicles are going to be spinning round. There's going to be lighting effects. There's going to be lightning. There's going to be smoke, fire, all sorts of different special effects. So that has come together really nicely in here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it looks when it's finished. Now, along with that, of course, I need to make sure that all of the details on the outside of this building look great from down on the lower level here as well. Because of how this is set up, of course, the buildings in front of it are a lot smaller, and then we've got the larger building behind it. So yeah, I just need to make sure that all of that comes together exactly how I want it to, and it's got some nice theming, and yeah, I guess, you know, wherever see a boring part of the show building, it's all going to be nicely themed and detailed. And as I mentioned in episode 8, there is going to be a star cloth across the whole of the roof on this dark ride, going to cover it all the way across. So yeah, it's going to look nice. I know there was a couple of people who thought that it was going to be staying outside without a roof, but no, it is. I did explain that in the last episode. It is going to have a roof on, and you're going to see that as we come towards it later in this episode. Along with that, I'm actually going to be also naming this ride, talking more about the storyline, and sharing a full on-ride POV of the completed dark ride with some custom audio that I've put together as well. I say custom audio with my voiceover, using lots of different music that I've compiled together yeah, for the ride. So that's something to look forward to, and that's coming up of course later in the episode. So as you can see then, working on this main scene here where the storm itself is going to be taking place. It's hit the town of Tanpost. It's caused a lot of injuries and of course fatalities as well. It's a very serious storm, so we're going to make sure that all the special effects in here are very overwhelming. I want guests to come into here and think, blimey, like this is crazy. So that's exactly what we're doing with all of the different scenery. So you can see I've started off by putting in some of the rocks down there at the bottom. Guests are going to head through that doorway there into an indoor scene where it's going to be like an old saloon, an old tavern, what's actually caught fire. So we'll have a bar with some fire effects around there. But first, it's not going to look too different because I'm actually just putting in a lot of the walls and scenery around here, and then I'll kind of add the special effects in as the last thing for this room. You can also see how I've actually changed the ride system, so the vehicles will spin 360 on a few different occasions throughout here. They spin 3 times throughout this scene, so that'll be quite a cool little effect. Of course, it looks like they're spinning really quick. That's just because, of course, I'm playing this it's sped up because it would take forever. Like I say, this dark ride in total, I'd say I've spent close to probably 8 hours in total across the 2 episodes building this dark ride. So yeah, it's a long time, and yeah, I don't think I could sit here for 8 hours doing the commentary, do you? I don't think you find it the most exciting either to watch me build something for 8 hours, but yeah, I hope that with this one, with me spreading it across the 2 episodes at least, you've got to see all of it come together nicely. It would have been too rushed for 1 episode, in my opinion. I really wanted to show you the full package of this ride coming together. So yeah, as you can see now, I'm starting to put in some wooden beams, some roof panels. We've got the typical things that you would find in a lot of these areas around the park, barrels, and they're just good filler things, aren't they? You can't have a Wild West theme park without barrels, that's what I say. Along with that, making sure that all the buildings are nicely detailed. And to be honest, for the size of the show building, when you're on this ride, it's going to feel a lot bigger than it actually is, because the building isn't huge. I've built bigger dark rides before in the game. However, I feel like this has got the most quality, in my opinion anyway. I'm really pleased with the finished result, with how this is looking. Yeah, let's add a bit of fuego into here, a nice bit of fire. So as you can see, that's actually what is going to cause the vehicles to spin, like an explosion of some canisters, and then it's going to cause them to spin round. We're also going to have 2 of these flame effects going off, and that's all triggered in as a triggered sequence. So you can see there I'm just moving them across, just to make sure that they're right. And then when the ride vehicle passes over, of course, it's going to create a really nice effect in there when the vehicle actually spins round. There's also going to be another explosion that I'm adding into this as well. You can see I'm just putting that in there. That's going to be another blast what's going to take place. I was looking at all sorts of different ones, green ones and all sorts, but I've gone for like a standard blast. And then, of course, we've got all the fire, what's going on around as well. Not like a shot of fire or a blast. This is going to be constant fire that's going off. We don't need to trigger that, because that's just going to keep running throughout. At one time there can be possibly 2, maybe even 3 ride vehicles in this one scene, so I want to make sure that that fire is staying on all of the time. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how that's coming together. Like I say, what this is going to be here now, we've put the beams going across, lots of different roof panels, like the roof's kind of all collapsed and caved in. You're not even going to be in that scene for very long at all. However, I wanted to make sure that the details are all in there for people who do look up. When I ride a dark ride in a real theme park, the first thing I do, I shouldn't do this, but the first thing I do is I look up to the ceiling and I look down to the floor, or if you're on a dark ride what's on water, I look at the water and see what's happened there, if it's been filled in. Like the whole thing, really matters to me, the full package. It's not just what's about on the walls, it's about what's on the roof, it's about what's on the floor, and I like to make sure that everything's put together nicely in my dark rides. With this, I decided not to make it trackless though. Obviously, normally with this sort of ride system, I would cover it over the track and make it like a trackless ride, so you don't know where you're going, but I don't think it needed that element. I feel like I've done trackless stuff quite a bit now. I wanted to actually keep the track so that you can see it there as you're making your way throughout the scenes. I really like these little misters what you can get in Planet Coaster, so yeah, I decided to add quite a few of those in there just to make it look great. Now, as you can see, you're actually going to get a little sneak peek into that room with a fire going on because of how I've designed that scene, and I spoke about that in episode 8, and I really like the idea of that, because the idea is you see it and you think, oh god, there's a fire going on there, what's happening, but you don't know what's caused that, and the fact that it's caused all sorts of beams to collapse and barrels to tip over and canisters to cause all this fire and special effects. Now, that's looking really good there. What I'm starting to work on here is actually going to be a cave. Now, this is going to be the transitional scene from, of course, the bad weather, the stormy night. This is kind of going to be like the evening after this big storm, what's hit the town of Tanpost. And you're going to come around this corner, and of course, you're then going to realise that everything's not quite as it seems. And as I mentioned, it's got quite a dark theme, this ride, but no darker than the likes of Phantom Manor, the Haunted Mansion, Tower of Terror, Pirates of the Caribbean. They're all Disney rides, but are all family-based attractions, but they have got quite a dark theme when you look into them. So one of the comments made me laugh on last week's episode. It was like, I don't think we'll ever see Theme Park Worldwide go so dark. Oh, trust me, I can go dark, but with this, I wanted to not go too OTT, but I wanted it dark. So that was the plan with this, just to make it, a bit more intense, like some of them Disney rides that are out there. So yeah, just need to make sure that all of these scenes look great from on the ground here, because as you can see, these buildings are a lot taller than that opening scene. So I've got to make sure that all this is hidden away nicely. The beauty is with a ride like this, I don't need to worry about putting roofs on some of the buildings, because you're not going to see them. Like when you're down on the ground, and of course once there's a roof across the whole structure, you're not going to see this at all. Like I say, there's going to be a star cloth throughout the whole ride, but then there's also going to be a roof so you don't see the star cloth from the outside, if that makes sense. That's going to be put on in the next episode. I'll be working on all of that, and yeah, that's what episode 10 in the series, 10th week of building this part next week, next Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. And that episode's going to be all about putting the outside of this ride together to make all the facade and also add in some more filler rides. As this is a bit of a family area on the sort of edge of the town of Tanpost, looking at maybe putting in 2 flat rides in this area as well. There's also going to be another little mini area kind of built between here and also Santa Fe. So the plan is to do some sort of fortress, like a fort, what's going to be in between here and also in between the inverted coaster. So that's going to fit in nicely. It's going to be its own mini area, actually. Like I said, it's going to be a fort. There's going to be a family roller coaster in there as well. A lot of you have already guessed what this family coaster is going to be. Of course, I'm going to be going for a standard mine train. However, it's not going to be like Big Thunder Mountain. It's not going to have a mine theme to it. It's going to be all based in this fortress. So I'm looking forward to putting that together. So I'm probably going to be at the stage where I can start work on that in the next episode, but it's probably not going to be complete until episode 11. But the main focus of episode 10 is going to be on finishing this ride's facade out the front and also making it fit in nicely as well. You know me, I like to try and cover the show buildings up as much as I can do from the front. So that's the plan with this. With it being on the edge of the park, I don't need to do anything with most of the sides and the back. It all depends on what I do with this mine train coaster that's going to go just off to the side. It's not going to be a massive layout for that mine train coaster, but you know, it's a Wild West park. I think it'd be rude not to have a mine train coaster here, even though it's not going to have anything to do with mining. That's the area over at the other side of the park. And let's just say I've got another big thrill coaster going to be coming up in a few episodes time, and a couple more rides, and then that'll be the series. So you know, there's going to be quite a few more episodes. I imagine that we're going to be kind of wrapping up this series maybe the first week of April. So there's about just over a month's worth of maybe another 5 episodes at a guess of this park to get it complete. So yeah, still more to enjoy. Don't you worry about that. And of course, that'll time perfectly with the reopening of theme parks, hopefully here in the UK, which is going to be coming up from April the 12th. Of course, we're going to be back out in the parks and enjoying those. So yeah, I'd imagine the final episode in this series of Planet Coaster will be coming up that week, kind of as the theme parks are about to reopen, probably the week before, and then that'll be all for Planet Coaster for now. But don't worry, it will be coming back at a later date in the year. But of course, the priority is going to be getting out there and enjoying the theme parks. This has been perfect over winter because of lockdown. I mean, I've done Planet Coaster every winter anyway, but this year to do 2 series back to back, of course, you know, with Christmas Wonderland then straight into this, I know you've all really enjoyed it. And having the set days of Wednesdays is something what I haven't been able to do before with Planet Coaster, because you know, I'm that busy going out to the parks. But with there being nothing like that open, I mean, you know, it's been 3 months now since we were last in a theme park. You know, so it's been perfect to actually set a day for doing these. You know, it's been quite unique because I'll probably never be able to really set a day for Planet Coaster. I don't know, maybe again when it comes back later this year. I don't know, I think the set days does work, so it's something that I'll probably look into. But like I say, going to be having a bit of a break from Planet Coaster after this series, and enjoying the theme parks throughout the summer season. So yeah, this dark ride now though, it's looking awesome, isn't it? A train's come in, train carriage, a tender, all sorts of rock work, skeletons coming in. This is the big finale scene in the ride. It's the biggest scene here, and the whole idea of this is kind of the aftermath. We've got a lot of bodies, but they've all kind of come back alive again, and this is how we can get away with it being still a family ride. I think if all these bodies and stuff were just lying there dormant, then it wouldn't have been great for a family park or a family theme. But the fact that with this, you know, they're all kind of coming back alive, it's going to be quite a jolly scene in a way. Is that the way to describe it? You know, it's going to be very similar, definitely inspired by the Haunted Mansion and Phantom Manor at the Disney parks. That's exactly what I wanted to do with this. Yeah, and I'm really pleased with exactly how it's coming together. But yeah, it's not too dark, is it? I didn't want it to be anything too much. As you can see, we're putting in some nice railings into here, some more rock work, quite a few different animatronics. You'll see in just a moment I start to add some little birds and spiders, all them sort of things around, cobwebs to make it feel like, you know, all this is just gonna be here for a while sort of thing. And this was probably like an older part of town anyway, but now after the storm, windows have been boarded up. It's all looking very decayed around here. So that's exactly the plan what we're going for. But again, I'm really proud of this dark ride. I think it's my favourite one that I've built in the game, and in just over 5 minutes time you're going to get to ride this and experience it. Now I'm not going to be shooting the targets. I'm just going to show you the ride experience from POV, because I've not shown you that yet over these 2 episodes. I'm sure you're all dying to see this, no pun intended. So yeah, that's going to be coming up in a few minutes so you can see the full POV. But when I actually showcase this park in the last episode of the series, I'll be sure to actually have a go shooting the guns and all the different targets as well. So that's something to look forward to. But yeah, just finishing this last scene up here, and then I'll be going on to the station area, putting all that in, and then of course we'll be waiting to ride. Like I say, there's going to be no work done to the exterior in this episode, but I am going to be putting the star cloth in the next couple of minutes as well, because let's face it, the ride needs that roof and it needs that star cloth, because there's also some sections where I've got to build up the walls a little bit more, so I need to add some more props in. And also I can't get a proper idea of the lighting yet throughout this dark ride until I've put the star cloth in, because that's got the little twinkling lights in, and I feel like that's just going to really add to this, because at the moment you can see the sky, you can see the rocks, you can see the trees in the distance. You're not going to see that soon once we've all blocked that in across the top. So yeah, you're going to see me doing that shortly. But let me just talk more about the theme, and of course pick the name out for this one. So hundreds of comments once again on last week's episode. Thank you so much for all of your suggestions. There's still going to be quite a few more chances to name rides. There's going to be a couple of flat rides coming up in the next episode. Along with that, there's going to be then the mine train coaster that's going to be coming in, followed by a thrill coaster and a couple more little rides as well. So there's still quite a few more opportunities, so if you've not had your name picked for something yet, don't worry, there's still chance. Here you go, now we're talking. Here's a little preview. So I decided just to have a little go shooting a few of the targets there, just to give you an idea, because as you've seen, I've just had to connect all the targets up. Literally, you can connect up to 200 targets. I just literally dragged a massive square across the whole thing, or rectangle, and then it selected them all automatically, which is brilliant. So you don't have to keep going round and clicking on each and every one, which is probably a good job, isn't it, with how many targets? 170 something, I think it said there. Can't remember now exactly, but anyway, let's talk about the name, shall we? I love this name. I love the storyline. So many people seem to also really enjoy it down in the comments. So here we go. Big thank you to Jamie Bryody for this one, and for coming up with Dirty Dan's Desert Deluge. I absolutely love it. Now, Dirty Dan is the most notorious gunslinger in the town of Tanpost, and he has challenged you to a duel. Test out your sharpshooting skills against the best as you travel through the town, but be wary of inclement weather. It looks like there might be a storm coming. Oh, I absolutely love that. So thank you very much for your suggestions. Everybody who commented, I absolutely loved many of them. And honestly, thank you. But yeah, Dirty Dan's Desert Deluge is just the one. I really feel like it's a good, fun name for this attraction. And kind of takes away a little bit from its quite dark theme in places. So no, I do really like that. Of course, Deluge being in there as well, all, of course, to do with the water that's taken over this town. So yeah, I absolutely love it. Now, here's a little look then at that with the star cloth going in. Now that looks great on there. Of course, it really closes in the scenes now, and really this dark ride is nearly complete. I mean, just working on the station area here now, some small little facades in here. Honestly, it's amazing how I've managed to use all the different walls, and it kind of looks like there's some massive buildings when really they're not at all. It's just, of course, held up all by different walls in places with things on either side. There's not actually anything inside them. There's scenes on the other side. So no, I'm really pleased exactly how this looks, and yeah, I'm going to really play on the character of Dirty Dan during the ride audio, so I'm sure that you're really going to enjoy that and exactly how it's come together. And like I say, I've put lots of different audio together for this one, so I hope that you do really enjoy it, and I'll actually play the game of this ride when the series does come to an end in that final episode. And yeah, I'm really pleased with it. Honestly, I feel like it's my favourite dark ride that I've done in this game. I've built some great dark rides, but I just really enjoy the theme. I love the Wild West theme. I've wanted to do a big interactive Wild West dark ride for a while. I considered doing something similar to this, over in Atlas Adventure, but it just didn't really fit in with any of the countries that were represented there. And this just really does work, doesn't it? It fits in nicely, and honestly, I am really pleased with exactly how it looks. So in just a moment, I'm going to be sharing a full-on ride POV with all that custom audio intro and announcements. But first, just finishing off some of the lighting inside, just to make sure that all of that is looking exactly how I want it to. We've installed a few more targets and some theming and props in some places too. But yeah, just working on the lighting just to make sure that all of that looks exactly how it needs to, and all the scenes are lit beautifully. But now I'm really pleased with the star cloth all the way across the roof. I feel like that just makes it more of an immersive ride. Like, you look round the corner here, it just means that it's black at the top, you know, and it just kind of blocks it in nicely, which is fantastic. Just changing some of the sequence in there for the lighting, just to make sure that we can have some flashing lighting during the ride as well, like this scene over here on the left hand side. But yeah, you know, it's just come together and I'm really pleased with it. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So yeah, just adding in lighting all throughout the different scenes, and it's nearly time to ride. So thank you very much for joining me in episode 9 of Frontier Adventure. I'll be back with episode 10 next Wednesday, where we're going to work on the facade, put in a couple of family flat rides, and work on the overall area out here, and also start work on the mine train coaster too. So here it is, get ready to ride, pretend that you're shooting along on this one. It's time for Dirty Dan's Desert Deluge. See you next week and enjoy the ride. Here we go. Howdy y'all, Dirty Dan here, the most notorious gunslinger in the town of Tanpost. Now I'm challenging you to a duel, so draw your guns and let's get going. Now I see you've all got your guns. You want to aim for the bigger targets. The bigger targets you hit, the higher you score, okay? Sounds like you're all having a blast out there. Come along into my saloon. I tell you what, messing with Dirty Dan like that, you're gonna need one. Hey now fellas, there be no shooting in here, else I'll kick you out of my bar. Now I see you've all been having a stiff drink over in Joe's saloon. I don't think so. Get back out here into Tanpost. I want to see them sharp shooting skills. Now they're the skills that I want to be seeing from you. So carry on round into Tanpost. We need your help. We got some bandits round here. We need to take them down. Well, well, well. If it isn't John Slaughter and Lot Smith, what are you doing here in Tanpost? You need to get out of here. This is my town and for my sharp shooting skills only. Wait a minute, what's that? Water. We've not had water here in Tanpost for the 25 years that I've been here, and probably 100 years before that. What is happening? Come on, we need to move out of here and get some shelter. Keep on moving down this way and we'll get inside! What a crazy night that was. The biggest storm to hit Tanpost in 150 years. And the biggest story of the night, well, Dirty Dan is no more. That notorious gunslinger is not to be found any longer in the town of Tanpost. And the same can be said for most of the other residents. I'm one of the lucky few, but I don't know what's going on still around here anymore. Shooting space. They'll sneak from there's our confidence. I just won't let you be. Well, it was certainly a different night than any of us were expecting, but I tell you what, Dirty Dan'd be proud with your gun skills. Thanks for riding and exit to the right. Enjoy the rest of your day here at Frontier Adventure.